안녕하세요. Riding on the Korean wave. Welcome to Friday's edition of The Culture Wave. I'm Kwon-soa in Seoul. Explore with us Korea's culture from all aspects and stay up to date with K-entertainment, K-attractions, K-movies, K-everything. Now, Friday means we have our co-host Bella Kim joining us in the studio. Hello, Bella.
Hi, Soa. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
And happy Friday to everyone joining us today on the Culture Wave. I'm Bella, here to co-host and fill you guys in with some diverse, exciting K-entertainment news.
And we're also joined by Arirang's news features reporter An Sung-jin. Welcome, Sung-jin.
Hi, Sung-jin.
Hello, guys, and hello to all of our viewers. My name is An Sung-jin, and I'm a news features reporter here at Arirang News.
Sung-jin, on the Culture Wave, we often report on traditional locations here in Korea. And today you brought us something new related to Korean palaces, is that right?
Right, so Korean royal palaces are often a destination for those who are visiting Korea, but in fact, it's not only for them, it's actually also for locals who want to take a break from the busy city. Now, these palaces look to offer a glimpse of their grounds at night. Let's have a look at it first. Promoting harmony. That's what the name of main gate of Changgyeong Palace, Hongwamun, means. One of the main palaces in Seoul, the Changgyeong, used to be the living quarters for the royal family during the Joseon dynasty. Though its historical values and beauty shine during the day, once the sun goes down, the palace's roof tiles, or kiwa, glisten in the moonlight. Starting from this year, the Moonlight Lotus Show at Changgyeong Palace has become a regular night tour program. The enchanting media art illuminates Chundangji Pond. Scenes of blossoming flowers sparkle on the serene pond backdrop, and petals fall to the sound effect of a water drop. The night tour program encapsulates the palace's scenery through media art facades and revolves around the theme of harmony between tradition and modernity.
I really enjoy it's very good creation and with numeric art, and it was a surprise because I went only to visit the palace and the.
I didn't know they were doing this today, but it's so beautiful.
I just came here with my girlfriend, but I'd want to come back again. It'll be a great memory for us.
The glass greenhouse resembles a treasure chest floating above the illuminated water surface. Such programs at night open up the opportunity to soak in the virtue and the beauty of the palace through various visual attractions.
I think one reason why these night tours are so popular is because unlike the bustling daytime view, the night view offers something different, serenity and peacefulness. That's why we want to further expand our programs.
Even though night tours will be offered through the entire year, those who want to see the media art facade will have to go before May 18th or wait till September when the program resumes.
Wow, what a beautiful view. Sung-jin, I envy you for being there last night.
Absolutely.
So how was it for you, just your personal experience there?
Right, so I've been to Seoul's palaces various times, but mostly during the daytime, which is why I feel like visiting there during the night tour is actually something a bit more of a unique experience. The media art facade that only Changgyeong Palace offers was definitely a scene to check out with traditional and grand background music.
Definitely. And people who would like to go, how can they apply for it?
Luckily for Changgyeong Palace, unlike other palaces, it's actually very easy to actually visit because you do not need any prior reservation for it. So anyone with an admission ticket that is only 1,000 won or around $1 to Changgyeong Palace can enjoy the Moonlight Lotus Show.
And apart from the Changgyeong Palace where you went to yesterday, what other palaces offer these kind of night tour programs or night programs?
Absolutely great question. So for our viewers who are interested in the Korean Royal Palace or for those who want to feel the glimpse of the Korean traditional palaces, as the official at the Korea Heritage Agency said, with more people visiting at night, now 4 royal palaces offer night tour programs. Gyeongbokgung Palace has the Starlight Tour, which also actually offers the performances of the traditional performances and the chance to experience royal cuisine, while Changgyeong Palace offers a moonlight tour to discover its beautiful scenery. And finally, Deoksugung Palace has the program at Seokjojeon at night, providing the opportunity to enjoy coffee while experiencing the daily life of the royal family.
Wow, so much is being offered.
Right. So basically at almost all of the major royal palaces in Seoul.
You get to enjoy something.
Wow. Thank you very much for being out there last night, Sung-jin, and looking forward to your next coverage.
Well, my pleasure as always, guys.
Thank you. And now it's time for some K-Entertainment news with Bella Kim. Bella, it's K-Entertainment news time, but we're actually going to start off with a Hollywood star that's currently in Korea. Yes. I'll give a hint here. Dun, 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 dun.
Yes, that is a very good hint. Hollywood icon Tom Cruise has arrived in Korea on Wednesday to promote his upcoming film, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, the 8th movie of the Mission Impossible series. Now, this is his 12th official visit to Korea. At a press conference that was held in Lotte Cinema World Tower in Seoul on Thursday, Cruise acknowledged the fear involved in his stunt, but emphasized his willingness to confront it. Along with Cruise, director Christopher McQuarrie and actors Simon Pegg, Hayley Atwell, Pom Clementif, and Greg Tarzan Davis also attended the event. Now, Cruise never misses Korea whenever, his upcoming films come out to promote it. And he said that visiting Korea was actually one of his dreams. And the fact that he has visited 12 times is a proof of that. Mission Impossible 8 is an action blockbuster in which Ethan Hunt and his Impossible Mission Force team members risk their lives amid the desperate crisis that threatens the entire human race. And this movie, it will be released in theaters on May 17th here in Korea. Now, Cruise is, 63 years old this year, and his stunts never get old. And I still can't believe he performs all of his stunts himself. And some of the things that he did this series is, jumping off of an airplane into the ocean for underwater scenes, and also hanging on the airplane at a speed of 225 kilometers per hour. Wow. So I can't wait to catch it in theaters soon.
Literally Mission Impossible.
Impossible.
And I actually saw also Tom Cruise when he was in Korea years ago. So I'm really glad that he's making those frequent visits to Korea and that he's really loving this country so much. But Bella, let's move over from Hollywood to K-pop now. News on one of the members of NCT?
That is correct. We briefly talked about Do-young's Seoul concert last week. Well, we thought he's just holding a concert here in Seoul, but it happens that he's actually holding a tour across Asia. His second Asia tour, the 2025 Do-young concert Doors, will begin right here in Seoul from June 13th to 15th for a total of 3 days, and it will head across Asia, including concerts in Yokohama, Singapore, Macau, Bangkok, and also Taipei. And as we covered last week, only 2 days of the concert in Seoul was originally planned, but due to explosive response from his fans, an additional show was added. So now 3 days in Seoul, Do-young will deliver warm comfort and empathy to his fans as he expresses various memories and emotions that he encounters at the moment of opening the door of memories. Meanwhile, Do-young will release his second solo album on June 9th.
Well, it's going to be a very memorable summer for his fans.
Yes.
Now, Bella, last but not least, we're going to move on to an upcoming animation.
That's correct. Korean author Baek Hina's books have been made into a Japanese animated film titled Magic Candies. The new film is a story about Dong-dong, a quiet boy who spends most of his time alone until he discovers magical candies that allow him to hear the thoughts and feelings of others. Now, what starts as a simple treat turns into a life-changing journey of connection and growth. Magic Candies is based on Baek Hina's beloved books, Magic Candies and I'm a Dog, and she's actually the first Korean winner of the Astrid Lindgren Memorial Award, known as the Nobel Prize of Children's Literature. The upcoming film is already receiving global praise as it has been invited to over 30 film festivals, around the globe, and it won the Jury Prize and Audience Award at the New York International Children's Film Festival, and has also been nominated as the Best Animated Short category at the Oscars. So we'll wait for that result coming soon. And here in Korea, you can watch the film at Lotte Cinema Theater starting on May 28th.
Can't wait for that. Well, thank you very much, Bella, for those K-Enter updates.
Yes, I'll stick around.
And now let's turn to our AI anchor, Ari, for other culture-related news. Ari?
Hello and welcome to your AI guide to the latest cultural updates from Korea. Here's our top story. New Pope Leo XIV is expected to visit Korea in 2027. If the visit materializes, he will become the third pope in history to visit the country. Anticipation for his visit stems from a decision made by his predecessor, Pope Francis, who announced Seoul as the host city for the next World Youth Day set for 2027. World Youth Day is a global event that brings together young Catholics from around the world to celebrate and deepen their faith. It has been customary for the Pope to attend the event, and the tradition has been upheld even when there has been a change in the papacy. Meanwhile, Archbishop Peter Chongsuntaek of the Seoul Archdiocese offered his congratulations, expressing hope that the new pontiff will guide the Catholic Church with the light of love and justice. He also voiced his wish for continued care and affection for the Korean Church and the wider Asian community. The 2025 Gangneung Dano Festival, a millennium-old celebration recognized as both a UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage of Humanity and a National Intangible Cultural Asset, will take place from May 27th to June 3rd, marking the 20th anniversary of its UNESCO inscription. This year's festival offers more than 60 vibrant programs, including traditional rituals, shamanistic ceremonies, folk games, and interactive events for visitors. The event will also include a variety of performances, such as traditional women's opera and international guest showcases. With the growing global popularity of K-culture, the festival will welcome an increased number of international participants this year. The 2025 Delight Seoul Media Art Exhibition is currently underway in Jongno District, inviting visitors to a captivating blend of cutting-edge technology and immersive art. The Delight series, which uses intellectual property developed by Seoul-based media production company Design Silverfish, has garnered global acclaim with praise showcases in major cities from New York to Dubai. This year's event highlights the most popular content from the past 5 years, integrating technologies like AI, augmented reality, and projection mapping. The exhibition will run through November 15th. That's all from me. Keep it tuned to the Culture Wave.
Just in time for the golden holiday we've had this week here in Korea, a number of movies of different genres, messages, and appeal were released. So let's take a look at the latest in the world of K-movies with Jae Sool, professor and filmmaker at Seoul Institute of the Arts. So welcome back, Professor Sool.
Hello,
nice
Professor.
to be back.
All right, so Koreans have just come back from a long holiday earlier this week. We had Children's Day, we had Buddha's birthday, and that's why also many people flocked to the movie theaters, including myself. So, Professor Sool, how's the box office looking this month so far?
Well, because of that boost, basically it was from May 2nd until the 6th, so it's like almost a 5-day, including the weekend thing. So basically the box office for that weekend was basically about, they brought in about $10.8 million. And about a million more audience members came during the weekend than the previous one. So it's like a 54% boost. So I think definitely it really kicked in. But I think also the release of, the movie Thunderbolts actually helped to spur, all the things. And then the Korean movies that came out at the same time, like Virus or Holy Night, Demon Hunter, those did really well. But I think what's interesting now is, we're suffering, the Korean cinema is suffering because not a lot of people are going to cinemas, but we need these kinds of holidays to get people back in. And what's kind of fascinating is, it's a movie called King of Kings that came out on April 11th. So I guess it's like around this time, but it's a Korean animation film basically about Jesus, and it's brought in $65 million at the box office in the US, so it's a big hit there. So not exactly with our weekend, but Korean cinema is doing really well globally right now. Yeah.
It's definitely good to see those rise in the audiences in movie theaters during these holidays. And I want to talk about the movies that was released during the holidays here in Korea. What were they about, and how were the responses of the audiences?
Right. So the three movies are The Old Woman with a Knife, and also Holy Night, Demon Hunters, and Virus. So The Old Woman with a Knife is basically an action film by director Min Gyu-dong, and this has a famous actress named Lee Hae-young in it. She's 60-some, sort of a criminal, a mastermind in sort of like in this movie, and she fights a male sort of criminal for power. So it's kind of an unusual movie, but it's actually for a small budgeted action film. It's done really well. It's about currently $600,000 people went to see it in the box office, so that's pretty good. So I think it's going to go over 1 million in the box office. And then basically, 거룩한 밤, or Holy Night, Demon Hunter, which came out, is 마동석, you know, and it's got, you know, one of our famous Seohyun from, you know,
Girls' Generation.
Girls' Generation. So basically, that matchup of, like, you know, basically the Roundup series, you know, the guy that's punching. So it's that movie is sort of a cross between Roundup, you know, Banje Doshi, with, like, you know, Exuma. So it's about, you know, fighting sort of ghosts and a lot of paranormal activity. And then I want to introduce Virus, which came out basically 2 days ago. And this movie is actually a movie that was kind of a layover. It was actually done in 2022, but it's now, you know, found in the box office. And this stars Bae-duna. It has Son Seok-gu and Kim Yoon-seok. And it's basically a comedy about, you know, what if there's a virus that you know, basically makes you fall in love all the time. So these movies kind of came out, and I think the audiences are kind of seeing it for the first time. But for Korean cinema, like, there's a lot of movies out there that, because of the pandemic, they were held back from release. So, for example, The Match, which came out recently, which had Lee Byung-hun. It's a Go Paduk movie. That was finished in 2022. So these movies are finally the light of day with the releases coming out now. Yeah.
Now, among the 3 or actually more movies that you just mentioned, Professor So, The Old Woman with the Knife, let's talk a little bit more about this one, because I remember how you mentioned this when we talked about the Berlin International Film Festival back in February. So you did mention that this is a movie that we could draw our attention to. So how has it been viewed now abroad and domestically as it's now out? So how has the response been so far?
Well, what's interesting about it is director Min Gyu-dong isn't really a big action director. His movies have been smaller scale, but he's really attempted this. And I think Lee Hae-young's an actress that sort of was really famous in the 90s, you know, and maybe in the early 2000s. I think the last action movie that she was in is Ryu Soo-hwan's movie that when he debuted. So it's an action film that she's not really an action actress, but I think what's really interesting about it is you're bringing back somebody that's like a really famous actress from the 90s in 2025, and she is out there, you know, killing and maiming and using her body in amazing ways. So it's a very interesting movie in that way, and as you mentioned, it debuted at the Berlin Film Festival, and it was really well received there. And you know, I think I mentioned in a previous show that, you know, she had visited the Berlin Film Festival like 26 years ago with another film that she did. So she's kind of a veteran actress that has sort of like dominated Korean cinema for a long time. So I would really highly recommend going to see this movie.
Okay, so that one is the one that I haven't watched yet. But Professor So, now going back to Holy Night, Demon Hunters, that's one that I did watch and found very fun to watch, just like the other ones that feature Ma Dong-seok. And also Virus, the one that you mentioned, was actually filmed years ago already. Yes. So both of these movies were postponed during the pandemic. There might be some different reasons for the postponements. However, it's become more common for movies to, you know, be released years after they're already produced. And that's also leading to some criticism that there is a lack of freshly developed film contents. So what is your take on that?
Definitely true. And to be honest, I heard that there's almost something like 70 more films that haven't been released that's completely done. So, and the reason for that is because after the pandemic, you know, everybody withheld the release because nobody was going to the movies, and they saw that all these bigger films than these films had crashed the box office, you know, previously. So they held it back, and so we have sort of in store all these movies that are wanting to release with big stars in it, but it's now seeing the light of day, and so. The problem is that not new material is being made, as you mentioned. So right now, for example, you know, I teach film, and a lot of times I actually get calls from production companies in Korea that ask me and makes my students if they have, you know, feature-length screenplay ideas, because everybody's writing for, you know, the streaming services, OTT, so Netflix or Disney Plus or Wave or all the, you know, it goes on television instead of in the big screen. So there is sort of, we have a backlog of movies that need to be released. The producers are scared to release it. And then, you know, I think there are more films being made with smaller budgets now than before. And then the shortage of basically new cinema that's about to come out. So we're going through some really hard times in terms of just Korean cinema in general. You know, we have to constantly replenish new material, come with new directors, but I'm kind of worried about that.
I didn't know there were like 70 films that's already filmed, already
More
done.
than 70.
More than 70, just in Korea?
Yes,
right?
just in Korean films, yeah.
I hope to see some improvements in that as well. Professor, now we want to talk about Jeonju International Film Festival, which is actually wrapping up today. What are your impressions on it? And please share some of the highlights that was held at the film festival.
Well, you know, it's raining today, but as you know, during the festival they had really great weather. You know, it was the cherry blossom sort of blooming time, so they did really well. And the final grand prize was a Dominican-American film called Mad Bills to Pay, that won, and also the Korean film Winter Light also won for that. So what I noticed about the festival is, you know, again, Jeonju is famous for sort of smaller scale art movies or movies that are more independent spirited. So in that sense, I think Jeonju is continuing to flourish in that area. And you know, I think they had, you know, record number of people going to see the movies. And also, of course, it's not just the movie festival. It's also the city of Jeonju itself is a cultural phenomenon. So people flock there. They actually go to eat restaurants. They visit sites. So in promoting the city, it's definitely, like many other film festivals, it has that kind of flair. But I think this year's festival was definitely, you know, kind of a refresher from what's happening politically in Korea. As you know, we're going through a lot of stuff. So I think people were flocking just to get away from all that. Yeah.
And would there be anything that could be maybe done even better at the festival to keep the reputation of the Jeonju International Film Festival?
Well, you know, we are living in the age of AI, and I know the Busan Film Festival, because they're genre-oriented, you know, they did have an AI-oriented sort of theme. And I think even for indie movies and art movies, I think we have to start, you know, streamlining those movies. So I think using AI, you know, in a more creative sense. And I think I'm seeing a lot of sort of indie movies in the US, for example, that have AI-themed stories. I just watched something that's like a low-budget, like a independent SF, you know, like science fiction movie. So, you know, I think we need to kind of branch out. So I think Jeonju needs to maybe take on something more advanced, something more, I guess, innovative in their independent spirit and minded. So I think in that way, you can kind of reinvent yourself and try a new angle. So maybe next year, you know, AI-inspired independent movies, for example, is my suggestion to them.
Good idea.
Yeah.
We'll keep that in mind
Yes,
for next year.
And just to end off briefly, do you think these Golden Week holidays and also film festivals will, you know, have a carryover atmosphere, this carryover to the cinema scene this month and beyond as well?
I think the holidays definitely, you know, because people are, you know, they went there, they had fun. It's also a family sort of event, so I think, you know, if we continue to have more holidays, you know, I think it would be really great. But I think in terms of like festivals, sort of, you know, encouraging audiences to go, what I found is that festivals are their own thing. A lot of people go to festivals, and movies that do well in festivals don't necessarily do well in the box office, even though there is a synergy sort of effect. But at the same time, a festival is something that's very idiosyncratic in itself, especially because it's centered in the city of Jeonju. You know, you might say that, oh, you know, there's a lot of Korean people going to see movies, but then after that festival's over, they don't really go see it in the movie theater. So there isn't a direct correlation, but I think the holidays is definitely for sure. Yeah.
Well, we have, I think, a few holidays coming up next month as well. So maybe we'll see another boost, hopefully, at the theaters. Well, thank you very much, Professor Soo, for your insights today, and have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Bella, as always. Have a great weekend, and see you next week.
Yes, I'll see you back next week.
Thank you for spending the past half an hour with us on the Culture Wave. Enjoy your weekend, maybe with a great movie or at culture festivals. We'll be back next week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Korea time.